Welcome to the Ascend Growth Podcast, where we mix smart growth moves with a little AI magic. I'm Theresa. Let's dive in. For today's guest, we have Giacomo Biscotti, who is the CEO of Dynamic Sciences and President and CEO of ATCSI. He is an experienced product leader with a track record of building impactful products across startups and large tech companies. So, Giac, welcome. Let's start by learning about your background and both of your businesses.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Background, I am a U.S. Navy veteran. I joined the Navy in 2008, I joined in 1982 and retired in 2008. Went to work for a large company after that. I'm a retired air traffic controller, so that was my background. Worked for that company for about 4 years. I hated every second of it. Very large organization, not people friendly. So I decided to try to go out on my own a little bit and started ATCSI in 2012 with my wife's permission, of course. So I started as an independent consultant, worked on ATCSI till still currently do. Bought Dynamic Science in July of 2022. ATCSI is we do a lot of curriculum development training. We're still very involved in air traffic control world, air traffic control systems integration, curriculum development. So heavy on the aviation side, but we also are now digging deeper into data analytics and AI and data integration type stuff, which is why we thought this kind of fit talking to you a little bit. Dynamic Science is a little bit different. They do mostly air traffic control stuff, so we do actual air traffic control in towers, 6 National Guard towers around the country, plus we maintain the air traffic control equipment. We have 3 ramp controls, 1 in Detroit, 1 in Raleigh-Durham, and then we also work for Amazon in Cincinnati Airport, which is their largest aviation facility in the United States, believe it or not. And then we do some special crash investigation for the National Highway Transportation Safety Board out in the West region, located out in California.
Great. Wow, that sounds very impressive and you sound very busy. Who are your ideal customers for both companies?
Well, DSI is pretty easy. It's really airports, airport executives, how we can help them improve their ramp management, give them a safe air traffic control system. We've been working with the National Guard for over 30 years with 0 accidents or incidents, which is as good a safety record as any company in the country. So pretty proud of that. It's a great company. I've done well. ATCSI, we do a lot of government work, but with the recent data integration and AI and some of the data that we're working, ideal customers probably government or private sector who deals with a lot of unstructured data, and they want solutions that can kind of integrate all that data into like actionable intelligence so they can see results or make decisions based on that data. In a lot of cases, we all have a lot of data out there, but it's all in many different places and to try to piece it together. So we help companies kind of take that data and move it all into one easy to use visual so executives and leaders can make decisions on where they're going based on that data and see where they can improve, maybe streamline operations.
That's good. And I mean, 0 safety incident, that's something to be very proud of. That's really impressive. And for both of them, it sounds like you're primarily in United States, North America, or do you also operate globally?
We can operate globally. ATCSI, we've done a little bit of work out of the country. DSI, I currently have 5 air traffic control technicians in the Marshall Islands, supporting U.S. missions out there. It's still a U.S. Base, but it is Marshall Islands is way out in the middle of the Pacific, middle of nowhere. So we have 5 technicians out there on remote duty repairing air traffic control equipment at a remote data or airfield.
Okay. No, that's great to know. Thank you. So now before diving deeper into your business, let's talk about the market. I mean, there's so much going on, right? With AI, it's rising cost of inflation. I mean, you name it, it's happening. How has that impacted both of your businesses, your growth strategy? What are you doing to mitigate it?
Advanced language tools, they're kind of helping my tech team and data teams. We're helping to work faster. We get better solutions to customer a little bit quicker. We're really focused in on AI. I think many people are, right? AI seems to be the future of any data solution. Gives us an easier ability to predict trends, maybe gain deeper insights into what you already know. Enables us to handle a large amount of data without needing a large team, right? So we can help you with your data, put it all in one place. And rather than increase the size of your team, increase your costs, not to say it doesn't cost something, but we can do it with a smaller team. That way you can help streamline operations, maybe increase your revenue based on data insights. So our teams are we kind of encourage like innovation within our group. We're not a overly hands-on leadership organization. We believe we have smart people in these fields that can handle this stuff. They don't need to get bogged down in leadership, pointing them in directions. We'll provide guidance on where we want to go and what we want to do, but I'd prefer to let these smart people figure it out. I'm just a retired Navy air traffic controller that, owns this business with my wife, and this is not our field, but we know it's their field. So we let them figure out the problems. They bring it to us, and it's worked out pretty well so far. They're also training the rest of our teams to use AI effectively. Some of the issues we do have, outside factors, are, contracts we're working on, and there's still a lot of fear, I think, in the industry of AI, right? Everyone knows what it is, but what can it do to help me? But it's also hard to make people understand you can move away from Microsoft Excel, for instance, into more dynamic data fields that can give you better information rather than these things. So that's a challenge we face, trying to make people understand where they can go, but it has to take them out of where they're comfortable too. So that's the big challenge, taking people out of their comfort zone into something new.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually going to ask, do you find that most of your customers are resistant to it or scared of it, or do you see maybe some of them are leaning more into it? What's your sense?
It's a little bit of both, right? Some people are willing to embrace it and see where they can go with it. Others are, set in their ways. In our industry, there are a lot of younger folks like yourself that are kind of coming into it, that are a little less afraid of new things, as opposed to, people my age in many cases are, hey, I've done it this way and it's worked for many, many years. Why would I change? Right. But so it's hard to explain why you should change and how it can help improve you in the future. But we're getting there slowly. Still a little pushback from some people, but there's a little acceptance from some people. So it's a matter of making people understand what they need without realizing they needed it before, right? Because it's just a changing world.
Great. I've definitely heard a lot of people love their spreadsheets, right? And they're comfortable, and it's hard to get them away from that. So I definitely understand. So now let's go into your company. For both of your companies, what's working well for you, and what are you proud of?
The people. I mean, we've hired for the ATCSI. We're a little smaller. Many of the people that we work with are, 20 plus year, both friends and co-workers, people that we were in the Navy with, that we know and we trust. So we've created a family atmosphere in both companies. That's the most important thing to us. It's, business is business, but happy people are good business. So we ensure that our companies make sure they take care of all of our people first. We worry about business second. That might be counterproductive for many people, but it's worked well for us. ATCSI has been in business for 13 years now, and only 2 people have ever left the company. So pretty proud of that.
That's incredible.
Because
Wow.
I think it's a good culture. It's people can come to Holly and I anytime they want. They can talk to us. We'll talk to them. It's completely open door. We'll listen to people. And if there is a family issue where they need some help, we're always willing to help.
That's great. I mean, that is something to be very proud of. That means that you have a really good culture. People want to stay. How about what's been frustrating for you and your businesses?
For me personally, not much, but I'll speak from our data team's point of view. Their frustration is, they deal with large volumes of data, maybe some structured, some unstructured, but across multiple different places, different repositories, whether that be some SharePoint site or somebody's personal computer or somewhere else, where you're trying to pull all this data and integrate it to provide insights to people, and then getting access to those things. And since a lot of our work is with government and people that have been there for a long time, it's very strict business rules. Cybersecurity is an issue. So all these legacy stuff kind of stifles the adoption of efficient and innovative solutions, right? So that's the frustration for them, is trying to be able to get access to all this data while maintaining those cyber requirements, which we've been able to figure that out, but it's still frustrating because it's consistent on, we have to talk about it. We have to explain how we're doing this, how we're working on this, but they're fighting through it, but it is a frustration for them pretty much on a daily basis.
Do you also work with customers outside of the government? Is that something that you're looking to do?
Yeah, we do a little bit of work outside of the government. That's one of the areas of focus to expand upon. We're going to be we're putting together a presentation to be able to present to different manufacturing type companies or anything along those lines. So we're trying to get into the commercial world, and to be honest, it's probably a lot easier than getting in the government world. It's matter of getting out, generating some leads, figuring out how to generate them leads, and seeing how we can actually get in there. Get into one place commercially, I think it'll just grow upon itself once other commercial entities see the improvements that that company has made, and you can cite actual facts. I mean, we can cite things on the government side that we've improved, but a lot of that doesn't apply to commercial folks, so it makes it a little bit different, but I think we'll get there. We've got a great team doing it and putting stuff together. So I'm pretty sure we'll get there.
Yeah, agree. I was going to say it sounds like you have a really strong foundation in place, right, with your team and with the processes that you're building. So once you figure out that commercial piece, I'm sure it'll be very easy for you. So you mentioned getting leads. Like, how do you currently get leads now?
A lot of the leads are, who you know, and especially in government work. I've been, like I said, I joined the Navy in 82. My wife joined in 88. So we've been in this for many, many years. So a lot of the leads are generated through people we know. We actually recently went to a data analytics conference down in Orlando. So we met with a lot of folks down there, learned what they could do with analytics, AI kind of stuff. Well, talked to them a little bit about what we're doing. Things like that. For DSI side, we're about to head to the Association of Airport Executive Conference down in Atlanta in June. So a good opportunity to meet with airport executives and explain what a DSI can do for them as far as improving revenue for ramp operations at different airports around the country, as well as we'll talk a little bit about analytics and how we can possibly take those analytics and they can apply it to airport operations to maybe improve efficiency, safety, obviously a lot of air traffic control and aviation safety has been in the news lately. So we're looking at ways to identify where we can help improve that.
That makes sense. And so, like, based on who you know and going to conferences, like, generally, how many leads do you get per month, per year? I'm just curious on what order of magnitude we're talking about.
It depends on, what we're doing and what we're working on. I probably have 5, 6 meetings a week, just different companies, different government agencies around the country, occasionally overseas, just generating at least discussion on what we can do, what they're looking for, kind of stuff. Not every lead pans out. Most leads don't pan out, but the more leads you have, the more chances you have to get in the room to talk. That's kind of what you have to do. It just takes time.
I know it's a numbers game, right? And then just out of curiosity, like with the number of customers you're getting, like just to give a sense of like what's the revenue that you're targeting for the year?
For this revenue between the two companies, we are hoping to be somewhere between 15 and 20 million by this time next year. Can we get there? Yes. Will we get there? Who knows? We try to set the target a little higher than we can get to. And, a lot of other people set the target low and pass that goal and feel good about it. But we'd rather set it a little higher and hold ourselves to a higher standard.
No, that makes sense. What are the metrics that you measure in your business that are the most important to you?
Metrics we measure, a lot of it is basic. So we are just now applying a lot of these metrics into the company. So we're looking at revenue growth, looking at ways to streamline our project management procedures, our program management procedures. So everything we're doing now is trying to align everything into our data integration models and our AI models, and trying to align that within the company, training everyone in a company, well, two companies that have roughly 90, 95 employees. It takes a little bit to get everyone on board and understanding, but we're starting kind of from our data team obviously is already there, but they're starting kind of from the top down. I've been in this a long time, so has my wife, so we're still new at it too, right? Things change with AI and analytics so quickly and so often. They can explain something to us last week, and then by the end of next week, it's going to be different. So it's a matter of getting everyone to understand the value of it. Similar to what I said before, right? You have to show people what they need, even though they don't really realize they need it until they have it. And then they go, wow, how did I live without that?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's so nice that you and your wife are working together, by the way. I think that's really great. And so where do you want to be 6 to 12 months from now?
Well, we'd like to expand the analytics team. That's kind of our focus right now. We're known throughout the industry as experts in air traffic control and integration and curriculum development. And so all of the stuff we do now, we have a great reputation on what we're doing. The analytics, we have a good reputation with the customers we have, so we want to try to extend that expertise into maybe some new federal agencies, some private sector partners, and really focus on AI-driven forecasting tools. So we want to deliver, enable them to have proactive data-driven insights rather than as I started the company, it wasn't data driven. It was, I feel like this is the right thing to do. Did I have any data based on that? No, it was just kind of gut feeling stuff. So I'm still a gut feeling person in a lot of cases, but we also need to have the data on our side to maybe prove the gut feeling might be correct, or sometimes that gut feeling's been completely wrong too. So that's the idea. Try to Nexus 6 to be there.
Need both, right? I mean, AI definitely helps, but without the gut feeling and, just that talent, it's hard to do it. And so you said you wanted to build the team. How many people do you have on your team right now in the data analytics team?
We have five right now, but they're doing all those five are doing the work of 10, 12 people. We found, it's really amazing once you have these things in place, how much you can actually accomplish with a smaller team. And our thought behind it is, we've said this from the beginning, is small business agility with big business results. So, it helps us to be like that because when you're working with large businesses on this, things move very slowly because there's so many layers. In our case, there's not a lot of layers. And so we can provide results a lot quicker without as many approval levels to get them there.
Right. That makes sense. What's going to stop you from getting there faster than 6 to 12 months? Like, what's the biggest barrier for you?
The barrier is just making the leads that we have pan out, right? Showing people what we can do and make them understand that it's something that's going to help their business and not add workload. Generally, that's what people think, right? Like we're bringing in these data analytics and we can help you do this. We can help you learn more of this. And the first thing they're thinking, well, that's going to cause a lot of extra work on my part. When the reality is once they have these things in place, it actually lessens their workload because they have those insights all in one place. They don't have to pull up 7 different areas from within their company or store or agency, whatever you want to call it, to figure out what the data actually is. This provides them the data one place, looking at it, it's there, this is what I see, this is where our weaknesses are, this is what I have to improve.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned you get around 5 leads per week.
Probably somewhere along those lines. I mean, I have a lot of weeks where it's less. I have a lot of weeks where I have a lot of different meetings discussing this stuff. So it really comes down to week, what hits, what doesn't. We've had a lot since the last analytics conference we were at. So a lot of people we've talked to since then. I'm sure that'll slow down as it goes, but hopefully those leads will generate into something. Another conference coming up. I'm sure we'll get a lot of leads there to start with, and then it'll slow down. So it's just a matter of being able to get out there and explain how you can help people. That's really what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to help people work things a little bit better.
Right, that makes sense. And then generally, what's your percentage of leads that close?
Well, we're probably at about 15 to 20%, which I think is actually a pretty good number. In many cases, it's just a lot lower, right? I mean, when you're chasing leads, it just kind of is what it is. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But I'd say generally leads work out less often than they don't, right? They just don't work out all the time. It's either not the right time, or maybe you didn't explain things as well as you could, or maybe people weren't ready for the change. So it's really just a matter of showing the product, showing what we can do, and making people understand how it will help them rather than, oh, and we all know people don't like change, right? No one likes change. So you're coming to a place saying, hey, I can help you get better, but you have to change. And sometimes these are successful organizations saying, why do I have to change? I'm successful. But to take it to that next level, sometimes you got to change.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Actually, I heard at a conference one time that a person will absorb a message only after they've heard it 7 times. Right. So you could say this beautiful message, educate them one time. It still doesn't go through. I was shocked when I heard 7 times because that's a lot of communicating. Then in terms of leads, like generally what's the average sale from each lead?
It really depends on the customer, right? Because we're looking at large government agencies, small government agencies. We're looking at smaller commercial ventures. We are hoping to set something up with a larger commercial venture here in the next month or so. So it really comes down to appetite for that company and the size of it, right? Like a small storefront can't afford a lot, so that's not a lot of revenue generation, but it still helps that company slant storefront and hopefully get your name out there to other smaller storefronts that say, hey, wow, these people did this for us. You should look into it.
That makes sense. One more question on the leads. You can wave a magic wand and get anything we want. How many leads would you be getting each week? And then how much of that would be converting?
Well, I guess I'd be happy with what I'm doing now, but of course we'd want 100% to convert, right? But that's unrealistic. Honestly, if it's 10 people we talk to a week and you get 20% of those that are um, understand what you can help them with, then I'd say that's a pretty good percentage, right? That 20% doesn't sound like much, but 20% of 50 leads ends up being a pretty good number there after a while.
Now let's talk a little bit about you have so much experience. If you could share advice as a leader, what are tips that you would give to others who aspire to be CEO of their own company one day?
Obviously, hard work matters, right? Don't be afraid of that. But really, relationships matter almost as much as the hard work. We've all been there. You've walked into a room and someone has been pretty disagreeable, not fun. People don't want to work with people like that. Like I said, I worked for a large company when I retired from the Navy and I hated it. It was very corporate, there was no smiling in a room. That was not permitted, right? And I'm used to the camaraderie of the military and it just wasn't there. So it sounds simple, but be nice to people and have they'll want to work with you. If you're good at what you do and you're easy to work with, that's how people tend to look for people to work with, right? Who wants to find the person as brilliant as some people are? If they're hard to work with, why would you want to work with them when you can work with someone that's really smart, works hard, but they're easy to work with and easy to be around? Treat people how you want to be treated. I think that goes a long way.
Yep, no, I agree. I mean, that is the skill that unfortunately is not that some of the younger generation, right? They don't really have the people skills because they're on the electronics all the time. So that is really important to know. If you were to do everything over again, is there anything that you would do differently if you started today?
No, sounds simple, but no, I wouldn't, because I think everything you do in your life leads you to who you are today, right? We have successful businesses. I have a great family, wife, 6 kids, 12th grandkid on the way. Our family is doing great, and to us, family is what matters most. Would I do any? It might have been nice to meet my wife earlier, but I think everything we both went through led us to the comfort with each other that we have today and the love that we have for each other today. So I wouldn't change a thing.
That's fantastic. How do you balance work and life?
You just got to make time for life when you have a family, right? Friday afternoons, we shut down usually a little bit early. Holly and I do. That's it. We don't answer stuff. We shut down. If we try to spend as much time with our kids and grandkids as we possibly can. We're on the road a lot traveling for work, but if we could fit in, like last week, we had I think it was last week before, we had the conference down in Orlando, but ACDC just happened to be playing in Tampa that weekend. So rather than fly straight home, we went and saw ACDC, and then we went down to Treasure Island for a couple of days on the beach with friends and family. So you just got to try to fit it in and realize you got to recharge. You can't just work every second. And that's not to say when we're traveling, doing stuff like this, we still have our computers. We still answer work calls, but you also can, every now and then you need to sit on a beach and have a beer. And if you get a call, you can talk with a beer in your hand while you're sitting on the beach.
I love that. And that's so inspiring to hear that from someone like you, because I know a lot of people go all in into work or they don't know how to do the balance. So it's really nice to hear your story on that. People wanted to get in touch with you. Where can they find you online?
We have web pages, obviously ATCSI.com or dynamicscience.com. I personally am on LinkedIn, of course. Our website has a contact page. It will get to me if you do that. We do answer that stuff when we can.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Giac. And that's a wrap for today's episode. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you got value, share it, tag us, and don't forget to hit the follow. And catch you next time on the Ascend Growth AI podcast.